It's almost been 8 years. In March of 2016 is when I first realized things are changing. And that's when I first went on to YouTube, started looking around, discovered this thing called the Mandela effect. I don't need to sit here and list everything that I know has changed, from the logos to the lines in movies to land masses, Statue of Liberty. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. But I thought I'd follow up that series of testimonies that I just got done putting up. And this is my second attempt. I made one a couple of days to follow up, sitting here talking. YouTube would not let it go up. And I don't understand that. It said all the data wasn't there. It refused to allow it to go up. But do you remember, those of you that's been on YouTube for a while, like I say, almost 8 years for me. I've lost 3 channels. I'm completely locked out of my Just a Voice 5 channel for some reason. They gave me 2 strikes last November and December. And it's been a couple of months. They won't allow me to put up anything or comment. I thought the second strike was only 2 weeks, but that's beside the point. Used to, before the big purge, which seems to have really happened. Go figure, the dog's been asleep all this time. He does that all the time. He's getting a bone out. That's no Mandela effect. That's just him. He hears me talking because... But anyhow, let's not get sidetracked. But I think they did a big purge after the pandemic to silence people about the medical. Now people are being silenced about a certain protective group that runs the media. But I can't say who they are, or that would prompt a hate speech. And the protected group of individuals that don't believe they are what they were born to be. I can't say anything about that either. But anyhow, going back to the Mandela effect. You could get on YouTube and you could look up anything you want, any subject, and there'd be documentaries, and they didn't hide anything. Just the other day, I went looking through the list that YouTube and Google gives you for the Mandela effect, and they're all fairly new. A bunch of clowns making fun of it, scoffers and mockers, trying to debunk it. Probably on the payroll, a lot of them. But back then, you could. People were allowed to freely talk about it, just like the flat Earth, which I do believe they're connected somehow, because they both came into existence about the same time, as far as I know. I came to the flat Earth after coming to the Mandela effect. Seen so many things that I know for a fact did change. There's some personal changes in the neighborhood where I'm at. I mean, a hedge line that I used to see every day just completely disappeared. Then about a year later, a couple years back, it came back in a portion, part of it. Now it's completely gone again. I know because I would see it every day when I looked out my window. And People think you're nuts if you tell them that light poles grew. Kroger's over here next to me. I couldn't see their parking lot lights when I moved in here. Back about 2017 or something, just all of a sudden, there they are, shining over the building. I could see them from my front window. Did they change the light poles? They must have did it in one day's time if they did. There's so many changes. It's like I took a boat ride around the Statue of Liberty when I was in New York in the 1980s. And it was on Ellis Island. Didn't even know anything about Liberty Island. Took a boat ride around Ellis Island, the Statue of Liberty. It's never been there. Big one for me was the geographic Cuba. Because even in the early 20s, just a decade ago, I'd watch hurricanes come up and go through the entrance of the Gulf of Mexico and then come on up into the Gulf. There was no land mass that inhibit its entry into the Gulf of Mexico. Cuba was over to the east of the islands. You know, the peninsula that goes down. I kind of got sidetracked there. Kind of lost my train of thought. But anyhow, when South America shifted over to the east and no longer under North America, like I remembered it being, that left the mouth open. Now Cuba is blocking it off and it almost looks like a sea creature. I asked many people over the past few years about that, and they don't remember Cuba being in the Gulf of Mexico, blocking it off. Because they, like me, remember hurricanes coming right up through that giant opening. And the Suez Canal has changed directions. Used to go east to west, now it's north to south. It's crazy. And most people are just running around blindly. You give them the test, and 9 out of 10, they will remember the way you remember. But then, next day, it's like they forgot it, or don't want to talk about it, or they don't want to talk to you anymore. Are they scared of it, or under that strong delusion? Anyhow, I got a little note list here I made, but it doesn't matter. I'm just fed up with YouTube and the whole situation. It doesn't do you any good to try to put up anything if it's truthful, or two subjects they don't want, besides the normal that a lot of channels have been deleted for, medical and talking about the tribe. And that is the Mandela effect. They are trying to mock and scoff that, the same as the flat earth. They don't want people to know that what they believed all their life is a lie. It's changed. How this has happened, no one knows. I, like most others, believed it was CERN or the D-Wave computer when it first came into existence, and I was looking into it. I rarely talk about it to anybody anymore because people don't care. I mentioned just the other day, I was going over to Lowe's with a guy was giving me a ride over there, and he parked right by there was a Ford truck right in front of us. I said, look at that logo. You remember that little curlicue on the F? He said, no, never had that. And he knew nothing about the Mandela effect. But he knew that was wrong. And I kind of mentioned a couple other things and then let it go. Ain't seen or talked to him since. But anyhow, going back to the CERN, I think it's kind of like, now, don't get me wrong, I could be wrong. But I don't believe there's an International Space Station up there because there's absolutely no proof they ever constructed that. And there is no proof that you can find that they put together that massive steel structure underground. There's no videos or photographs or anything of them constructing that. Granted, I know they can tunnel around, but that massive steel structure, you realize just how much would be involved in putting that underground and assembling it? Where's the videos? I don't believe it exists. There's a building above ground, I'm sure. And they might take you down in an elevator and show you one little piece that they put together. Who knows? I'll never be there. You'll never be there. You'll never go to the International Space Station. I won't go either, because we can't. And you will never know if they actually have nuclear bombs, other than in the movies. It's just unreal. Well, that's an understatement. It's unreal. This world is unreal. But God said he would send a strong delusion. Is this it? I don't see how it can't be. Everything's accelerating. Just like he said in the last days it would happen. The days would become shorter. And he would think to deceive the whole world, even the elect if possible. Because he knows he has but a short time. And people will also ask you, well, this is going off the track of the Mandela effect, but they'll say, how can so many people be involved in space agencies? And was departmental. And then if you own all the media and Hollywood and the music industry that brainwash people with their subliminals, it would be very easy. Let's say there's 7 billion, and I even question that number, because we don't know. They can show you, okay, this is how many people in this country, but do you believe it? I don't believe anything they tell me anymore. But if just 1% of 7 billion, I believe that's 70 million, you don't think being at the top in the governments and the industry that you get all your information and your colleges, your space industry, don't you think 70 million would be enough to run this and deceive the world? I do. Because it's happening. And no one knows, if they tell you they know how this Mandela effect, how things are changing, run away. They don't. I don't. No one does. And you got to be careful of who you listen to about the changes. There's a lot of shield channels out there. One big one, this is how I lost my first channel, that I took down myself. There was supposedly a guy, I'm not going to give his name now. I want to, but I'm not going to this time. He was well you know, everybody went to his channel to get the latest. And he's still out there doing the same thing. He was in an interview once, and when he was talking about God, he was asked about God. He pointed the devil horn straight at the camera when he was talking about God. And that wasn't the only time he used the devil horns. But I brought that up, called him out, and the Mandela community at that time that I was involved with, they persecuted me for bringing it up. They didn't want to know that their beloved one that they watch all the time might possibly serve the devil. I got a little time here. This is not pertaining to the Mandela effect, but I've got to bring this up. You watch any show or movie and just they pop out at you, and they do it quickly. I've seen it so many times in movies and soap operas and sitcoms and on the news. They flash the devil horns. And that is casting a spell. But there's two meanings for everything. Well, actually, there's three. They call that the horns of that football team down there in Texas. But I ain't buying that either. But the Rolling Stones magazine, rock and roll. That's what a lot of people think it is. It's rock and roll. The devil horns, that means rock and roll. When they rolled the stone up to the entrance of Jesus' tomb and incorporated that with rock and roll. But it's the devil mocking the burial of Jesus Christ. That's just me. I don't know. Could be. Maybe not. Who knows anything anymore? And this channel here, there's Just a Voice 4. That's the only channel I could put anything up on at the moment. I don't know how many more videos I'll put up. I got over 800 subscribers. And evidently, I was sent notification that I obtained a couple new subscribers. But the count went down. The only reason I got 800, a couple of years ago at Halloween, I looked up real witches. And I put together, like these videos that I did on the Mandela effect, witches talking about witchcraft. And YouTube promoted it. In less than a month, I got over 500. No. How many did I get? It was pushing 100,000. And I kept getting new subscribers every day. I saw that. And I couldn't be a part of it. I deleted that video. And ever since then, this channel just died. YouTube can make or break a channel if they want. And they don't want you talking about the Mandela effect. They don't want you talking about the flat earth and many other topics. They will silence you in a hurry. Because the truth is not in them. They serve their father, the devil, down the road.